Ron, could I ask a question? I know you were just doing a corrosive control study, but people, and I think Dean is getting at it, are concerned about chlorine. Can you make some observation from your, about what effect the chlorine in our water could do, or might do?
Sandy, I've been listening to all of this conversation. It's the board's responsibility to meet the state requirements. And we are required to put chlorine in to the degree that it's at the end of the line, it meets a certain point. This board has been a remarkable board in terms of trying to make sure that this community, including ourselves, has safe and good water within the community. We're not all scientists. We go by what the regulations are that we have to meet, and we try to do that in a highly responsible way. And from last year, we authorized this study and for corrosion control, and we've got a good report on it. We cannot change the chlorine amounts that we put in, other than that at the end of the line when it's tested, it meets the state requirement. And we do the minimum amount that's required to meet that requirement. We cannot delete the requirement for chlorine. It's a law that we have to respond to and to take action on.
You know,
and that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Carmen. And if I could just add, because the people, you know, we're dealing with the system that is how many miles?
65 miles.
Thank you, 65 miles. And long story short, if you had an opportunity to look at what we sometimes discharge out of our system, you would be so glad that there's chlorine in there. I can't even tell you. Because what happens as water sits is it develops biofilms. And when you start actually, you know, like at fire hydrants, etc., if you actually start releasing, and we do try and do a plan where, and unfortunately we have very few staff, but we actually have guys going around and trying to open things up on a regular basis just to flush the water out, just so that there's newer water in there. But if you saw the biofilms that accumulate in there, if you know about like some of the other things that can go wrong with the system, you would be so glad to know that there's chlorine in there. I can't even tell you. I mean, Alamosa dealt with this just a few years ago in 2008. They had a salmonella outbreak. To this day, everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else in terms of how that happened, to like conspiracy theories. But the reality is, they really think it was by cross-contamination. And so what that means is somehow in Alamosa, the sewage somehow got in the water supply. And the town of Cresto knows about this because of nitrate levels, because of septic systems that have gone into household wells. That's why the town of Cresto is now on our sewage treatment system.
What is our flushing system?
Well, this is something we're actually
It's as needed.
That's it?
It's as needed at this point.
Yeah.
That means that if we get a complaint for stagnant water, we go out and flush as needed. We do not have the manpower to conduct a flushing program at this point. We're in the process of identifying all of the valves that go into a flushing program so that we can do that with high velocity water. But that takes many different steps. You can't just go out and start flushing, because what you end up doing is you end up stirring up sediment in the line, and then you get additional complaints about the quality of the water. So the current status is as needed.
And when we are trying to find out where all the pipes are. I mean, that's part of the system.
Well,
that was the first step. That was the first step, and we're well on our way with that.
But what is happening every year now, which hasn't happened, unfortunately, up until now, is we do flush the fire hydrants, and that's a regular part of our summer routine. And when you flush the fire hydrant, you're basically flushing a lot out of the rest of the system. But unfortunately, it's like everything else. We have a huge system and very few people to maintain it. So we have upgraded so many of our routine maintenances, I can't even tell you, and this is the guy that totally deserves an enormous amount of thanks for what he has implemented in terms of maintaining this system. We are absolutely running on the most optimal system that probably the district has ever experienced because of the talent of the people that we have here.
And the huge sums were put into infrastructure in the last 3 years. Amazing sums, really. And he's helped run it all.
Can I just ask when the board anticipates taking up Mr. McLaughlin's recommendations and making a decision?
We'll be talking about it today.
Fabulous.
Yeah, we'll be talking about
That
today.
was the whole point. Would you post that decision on your website so we can?
Well, we'll definitely, well, you know, it's very possible we'll have an article in the Crestone Eagle about, you know, what we're doing.
Do you think?
Yeah. But I just want to address, speaking of media, I received this through, I guess someone forwarded it to me through Diane Dunlap's email list. Clean up water and sand board candidates wanted. So I take it, Dean, you're starting the herbal tea party here in Crestone.
I wouldn't put that label on it.
But just so you know, everything that you've put on here, if you expect us to operate to a certain standard of expertise, then I'm going to start expecting it from you. And everything on here is half-truths, unresearched, and totally not where we're at.
That's your opinion.
Not only is
my
that my
research and
opinion,
findings.
Wait a minute.
excuse me,
Please.
not only is that,
Let's not do this.
Please keep it
Let's not
down.
do this.
Let's not do this. Please. I'm asking you to not get angry. We're all here trying to
this
make
isn't about anger, this is about setting the record straight. Dean, if you're going to continue to write things about the district, I expect you to, and I'm going to hold you to the same level of professionalism that the rest of the community holds us to. So in other words, if you want to write something like this, I highly recommend that you actually involve the district in some of this perspective, because it's absolutely not, no one that has the experience is part of these 2 pages.
This board works for us, and I'd like to see more compliance to our needs. And
We
that's
are
what that's
doing a
about.
very good job of compliance, Dean, a very good job.
Well,
Probably the best that's ever
I
happened.
would like to say something. I really appreciate all the people you brought in and all the information you're giving us and the work that you're doing. I'm very impressed by the board, and that I think we are, you know, getting to the bottom of the problems. The report's been done, and I am really impressed with the board and appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. And I just want to make sure that we can all just not go there.
Well, that's what we want,
So
is to not go there.
It's so
I agree with you. So,
Well, and this is where it starts. This is where it starts.
I'm not being adversarial here.
This is very adversarial.
I don't agree.
Very adversarial.
it is.
I don't agree.
It's time for us to move on.
Yep, let's move on.
Thank you everybody for coming.
10:15.
The meeting continues. The meeting continues, so